Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, we will be discussing about the drain of wealth and also the impact of British rule on Indian education. Before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends, and also click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into today's video. So as I have told, today's video is about two topics. The first topic is the drain of wealth. The drain of wealth, or it is called as the drain theory, okay, or the drain theory. Now what is the drain theory? So if you see the case of the British were not much interested in the development of Indian agriculture. They were not interested in the development of Indian agriculture. So what happened? Agriculture. So what happened was they were only interested in the procurement of raw materials. So they were not interested in the development of Indian agriculture. They were only interested in the procurement of raw materials. And these raw materials they used for their factories in England. Their factories which were situated in England. And for this purpose, for procuring raw materials, what did the British do? They forced Indian farmers for producing commercial crops. Okay, they forced Indian farmers for producing commercial crops because those crops were needed for their factories. So commercial crops, etc., cotton, then tea, sugarcane, indigo, all these commercial crops the British wanted Indian farmers to cultivate because the British wanted these things to be used in their factories in England. And these were in great demand in European and American markets. The British deliberately did not start any factories in India. British did not start any factories in India. They did not start any factories in India. That was a deliberate move. That is, not starting any factories in India or any industries in India. So basically, what did British do? They procured raw materials from India and took it to their factories in England and made finished products. So this was the policy of British. Okay. So what happened was the British they converted India into a source of raw material. Okay, source of raw materials. For them, India was just a source of raw materials, and also they made India a market for their finished products. So this is why they did not start any industries in India. They have to sell their finished products in India and they have to get their raw materials from India. So that is what British did towards India. And because of this, our handicrafts, that is Indian handicrafts, could not compete with the machine-made products. Okay, compete with the machine-made products. In India, handicrafts were more common, but these Indian handicrafts could not compete with the machine-made products coming from Britain. And artisans and craftsmen turned into tenants or agricultural laborers. Because of this, our artisans and our craftsmen had to turn into agricultural laborers because they did not have their products could not compete with the machine made products. So this was another problem which was faced by the Indian artisans and craftsmen. Again, the systems like Ryotwari system, Mahalwari systems, Mahalwari system, all these systems paved the way for zamindars. It was beneficial for zamindars. Why? Because the new revenue system introduced by the British, if you see, it was pro money lenders and zamindars, money lenders and zamindars. That means it was beneficial for money lenders and zamindars. The revenue system introduced by British was beneficial for the money lenders and zamindars. And the flow of Indian wealth and resources. So what happened was Indian resources started flowing, okay, flow of Indian wealth as well as Indian resources. Both these started flowing to England, okay, flow of Indian wealth and resources to England without getting equal economic and material profit, without equal profit. See, if the resources or wealth is flowing, at least some profit should be received by the other side. But here what happened? Indian wealth and resources were flowing to England, but India did not get equal profit. India was not receiving equal profit, that is material profit also India was not receiving, economic profit also was not, India was not receiving. This was called as the drain of wealth. Okay, so India's wealth was flowing to England, India's resources was flowing to England without getting equal material and economic profit. This was called as the drain of wealth. So I hope the point is very clear what is drain of wealth. So a lot of wealth flowed to England. How did this flow of wealth happen? Okay, the flow of wealth happened in different forms. Okay, it happened in forms of salaries, then pensions of these for civil and military officers, their salaries and pensions that went from India. Then again it went as interest on loans. Then profit of British capitalist. In all these forms, Indian wealth started flowing to England in the form of salaries and pensions to civil and military officers, interest on loans, profit of British capitalists. All these forms wealth was flowing from India. And also the Indian wealth was also drained due to excessive taxation. Excessive taxation on Indian goods. That also was another form in which Indian wealth was flowing to Britain. So finally Dadabhai Naoroji put forth this theory. Dadabhai Naoroji put forth the theory as drain theory. He said what is happening here is drain of wealth. He said it as drain theory in his book. The book's name is Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. This was the name of Dadabhai Naoroji's book. In this book, he said about the drain theory. Okay, he put forth the drain theory in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India, and he undertook a campaign. He wanted to educate the Indians through speeches and press. He wanted to educate the Indians about what is happening as a part of British rule. So that was the drain theory of Dadabhai Naoroji. And Dadabhai Naoroji, he declared that this drain of wealth, is a basic cause of India's poverty. See, India is a land which is rich in resources, but the problem was all its wealth and resources were being drained to Britain. That is the cause of India's poverty, and this was a fundamental evil of British rule. Later, the nationalists used this same theory. Indian nationalists used this same theory theory and economic exploitation by the British as a weapon to awaken the masses. They tried to awaken the masses based on this theory, making the people understand that that is a fundamental evil of British rule. So this was Dadabhai Naoroji's drain theory. So let us just go through the points which we have revised till now. The drain of wealth or drain theory. The British were not much interested in the development of Indian agriculture. They were only interested in the procurement of raw materials to their factories in England. They forced Indian farmers to produce commercial crops like cotton, sugarcane, tea, indigo, etc., which were in great demand in the European and American markets. The British deliberately did not start industries in India. They converted India into a source of raw materials and markets for finished products. Indian handicrafts could not compete with machine-made products. Artisans and craftsmen had turned into tenants or agricultural laborers. Ryotwari-Mahalwari system again paved the way for zamindars. The new revenue system introduced by the British were pro-money lenders and zamindars. The flow of Indian wealth and resources to England without getting equal economic and material profit or benefit is known as drain of wealth. A lot of wealth flowed to England in the form of salaries and pensions of civil and military officers, interest on loan, profits by British capitalists, etc. The wealth of India was also drained due to excess taxes on Indian goods and less taxes on British products. Dadabhai Naoroji put forth the drain theory in his book Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. He undertook a campaign to educate the public through speeches and press. Naoroji declared that drain is a basic cause of India's poverty and fundamental evil of British rule in India. Later, the nationalists used the drain theory and economic exploitation by the British as a weapon to awaken the masses against British. So now let us go to the next topic, that is impact of British rule on education. Okay, so impact on education. Before the advent of Europeans, education in India was based on religion. So education in India before the advent of Europeans was based on religion. Hindu Pathashala. So if you see Hindu Pathashalas and Muslim Madrasas imparted education to the people. So this was a form of education which was there in India before the advent of Europeans, that is Hindu Pathashalas and Muslim Madrasas imparted education. That is basically it was based on religion. So when East India Company, they did not show any interest in educating the people in the beginning. No interest in educating the people in the beginning. But later what happened was the Charter Act. Okay, Charter Act. So later what happened was an act was passed, that is Charter Act. This was passed by the British Parliament in 1813. This act provided an annual expenditure of 1 lakh rupees for the development of education in India. Okay, so I hope you understood the background. Education in India was based on religion. Hindu Pathashalas and Muslim Madrasas imparted education. The East India Company in the beginning did not show any interest towards educating the people. The Charter Act was passed by the British Parliament, that was in 1813. According to this act, it provided for an annual expenditure of rupees 1 lakh for the development of education in India. So when the Charter Act was passed, the company, what it did, that is East India Company, did not spend the entire amount for many years. Okay, did not spend the amount for many years. This was because of differences among Orientalists and Anglicists, differences among two groups, that is Orientalist and the next group is Anglicist. Okay. So what is Orientalist? Orientalist was the group who argued that money should be spent on development of Indian languages and learning. Indian languages and learning like Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, etc. Okay, that was the viewpoint of Orientalists. They argued that this money, this amount should be spent for the development of Indian languages and learning like Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, etc. But on the other hand, Anglicists, they thought that development of education, according to them, development of education in India means the development of English language and learning. Development of English language and learning. This was the idea of Anglicists. So Orientalists wanted development of Indian languages and learning. Anglicists wanted the development of English language and learning. So because of the differences in opinion of these two groups, the East India Company did not spend this entire amount because they had to have a decision on what it should be spent. So next what happened was, next topic we are going to learn is about the Macaulay's Minute in 1835. So the dispute was continuing between Orientalists and Anglicists. Okay, dispute between Orientalist and Anglicist was continuing, and that time Lord William Bentinck, he appointed a person called as Macaulay to settle the dispute. In order to settle the dispute between Orientalists and Anglicists, Lord William Bentinck, he appointed Macaulay. Macaulay was a person who was appointed to settle the dispute. Macaulay, what he did was, he favored the views of Anglicists. Okay, that is English education and learning. He favored the views of Anglicists in his famous Minutes of 1835. That is called as Macaulay's Minute. He favored the Anglicists, and he said that the development of Western system of education in India and English as a medium of education. Okay, he said about the development of Western system of education and English as the medium of education in India. And this was the decision made by Macaulay in his Minute of 1835. And what was his aim? He aimed at creating a class of Indians. Okay, he aimed at creating a class of Indians in blood and color, and English in their taste, habits, and intellect. Okay, that was the aim of Macaulay. He aimed at creating a class of Indians in blood and color, but English in taste, habits, and intellect. And Lord William Bentinck accepted Macaulay's opinion and decided to spend the money accordingly. And this act, according to this act, it also aimed at converting people into Christianity, through education. And Macaulay, he said about the Indian literature that according to him, a single shelf of good European library, was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia. Arabia. So this was Macaulay's opinion about Indian literature basically. So according to him, one second. Okay. According to him, a single shelf of good European library was worth or was equal to the whole native literature of India and Arabia. So that is why he supported Western education and English as the medium. So this was Macaulay's minute. This was the decision made by Macaulay, and this was the aim. He wanted to create a class of Indians in blood and color, but English in taste, habits and intellect. And they also wanted to convert Indians to Christianity. So this was about Macaulay's minute. Or that also was a serious impact of British rule on Indian education. Now let us just go through the points. Impact on education. Before the advent of Europeans, education in India was based on religion. Hindu Pathashala and Muslim Madrasa imparted education to the people. The East India Company did not show any interest in educating the people in the beginning. The Charter Act was passed by the British Parliament in 1813. This provided for annual expenditure of Rs 1 lakh for the development of education in India. The company did not spend the entire amount for many years because of the differences among Orientalists and Anglicists. Orientalists argued that the money should be spent on the development of Indian languages and learning like Sanskrit, Arabic, Persian, etc. Anglicists thought that the development of education in India means development of English language and learning. Macaulay's minute. The dispute between Orientalists and Anglicists continued till 1835. Lord William Bentinck appointed Macaulay to settle the dispute. Macaulay favoured the views of Anglicists in his famous Minutes of 1835. He advocated the development of Western system of education in India and English as a medium of education. He aimed at creating a class of Indians in blood and colour, but English in taste, habits and intellect. Lord William Bentinck accepted Macaulay's opinion and decided to spend the funds accordingly. This act also aimed at converting people to Christianity through education. Macaulay said a single shelf of good European library was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia. So next let us move on to the next topic. The next topic is called as Wood's Dispatch. Okay, Wood's Dispatch. This also can be considered as an impact on Indian education, impact of British rule on Indian education in 1854. The next step in the development of education was Wood's Dispatch. This was prepared by Sir Charles Wood. Okay, Sir Charles Wood prepared the Wood's Dispatch. It made the following recommendations. So what are the recommendations in Wood's Dispatch? Recommendations according to the Wood's Dispatch. The first recommendation is company should start primary schools in villages, then high schools in towns, and colleges at district level. So this was the first recommendation. The company should start primary schools in villages, high schools in towns and colleges in districts. So that was the first recommendation. The second recommendation was the primary education. Primary education should be in vernacular language, that is their local language, and English will be in higher education. Higher education should be imparted in English medium. So according to the Wood's Dispatch, the second recommendation was primary education should be in vernacular language and English medium for higher education. That was the second recommendation according to the Wood's Dispatch. Now the third recommendation was to provide grant in aid to be provided for private educational institutions. Private educational institutions. The government grant should be provided for private educational institutions. The fourth one, the company should set up a department of public instruction. A department of public instruction should be set up for supervising the education in all provinces. This department should be responsible for supervising the education in all provinces. That was the fourth recommendation. The fifth one was to establish universities. Okay, to establish universities at Bombay, Madras and Calcutta, and all these universities should be on the model of London University. Okay, so to set up universities at Bombay, Madras and Calcutta on the model of London University. The sixth recommendation was to open teacher training colleges. Okay, to open teacher training colleges. That was the sixth recommendation. Now the seventh recommendation was to establish vocational education and also technical schools and colleges. To establish vocational education as well as technical schools and colleges. And the last and the eighth recommendation was stress for female education. So these were the 8 recommendations made in the Wood's dispatch made by Charles Wood. So almost all these recommendations were implemented, and this Wood's dispatch is famous as the Magna Carta of English education in India. Magna Carta of English education in India. So that is how the Wood's dispatch is famous. So just let us go through the points which we have studied till now. Wood's dispatch 1854. The next step in the development of education in India was Wood's dispatch in 1854, prepared by Sir Charles Wood. It made the following recommendations. Company should start primary schools in villages, high schools in towns, and colleges at district level. Primary education should be in vernacular language and English medium for higher education. To provide grant in aid to private educational institutions. Company should set up the Department of Public Instruction to supervise the education in all provinces. To establish universities at Bombay, Madras and Calcutta on the model of London University. To open teachers training colleges. To establish vocational education and technical schools and colleges. Stress for female education. Almost all these recommendations were implemented. This is known as Magna Carta of English education in India. So these were the impact of a British rule on Indian education. Now let us go through some important questions from this part. Who introduced the permanent revenue settlement? Lord Cornwallis. Who propounded the drain theory? Dadabhai Naoroji. Which was a book written by Dadabhai Naoroji? Poverty and Un-British Rule in India. In which year was Wood's dispatch prepared? 1854. Which is known as Magna Carta of English education in India? Wood's dispatch. Name any 2 land revenue systems introduced by British in India. Zamindari, Ryotwari. What is Ryotwari system? In this land revenue system, the East India Company made direct settlement with a ryot or cultivator, and ownership of land was given to ryots on the condition that they had to pay a fixed revenue of 50% regularly. What is Mahalwari system? In this system, East India Company entered into a settlement with estate or mahal. The farmers within mahal were collectively considered to be the owners of the land and were collectively responsible for the payment of land revenue. Revenue was fixed at 50 to 60%. What was the opinion of Macaulay regarding the Eastern literature? A single shelf of good European library was worth the whole native literature of India and Arabia. This was the opinion of Macaulay. Explain drain theory. The answer is explained under the topic drain theory. All the points you will have to write for this answer. Write about the impact of British rule on Indian education. All the points which I have explained in the video under the topic impact of British rule on Indian education. You will have to write as the answer for this question. Give an explanation about the impact of British rule on Indian economy. This you can refer to the last video and also this video. All the points are explained there. So all these were the important points regarding the impact of British rule. So I hope you have understood all the points very clearly. In case of any doubts, please ask in the comment section, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.